Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con coming to you with another 1v1 of Steel Division Normandy 44. Now the map itself is Pointe du Hoc. You can tell because of that beautiful cliffside view looking out into the ocean. Isn't that lovely right there? And this particular fight going on today is going on over here on the right side. Actually, let's flip this around so we actually have the colors as we kind of announce the troops. So, on the left-hand side, over here now, playing as, what's it called, the first Pancera, it's Enzo. So he's bringing in that pole division going on into this early game. And over here, his opponent playing as the third Fallschirm, it's going to be Sagma. Now, we have a very interesting matchup going on between these two. And why is that? Well, one is the Poles are devastatingly strong in Phase A. They have tons and tons of stewards, they have good infantry, they have a nice recon. I mean, they're really powerful right out of the gate. However, for the third Fallschirm, I mean, like, these guys at the same time, they are fantastic infantry fighters. They may not have the same kind of oomph that you might expect from a basically all infantry division, but they cannot be discounted because of their kind of lighter beginnings. While the stewards are going to be quite effective early on, we might see L6I tank being a little bit competitive. At the same time, might be seeing some sort of other, let's say, these Pupchens are kind of early anti-tank guns. I think, oh my gosh, the N44s, they're kind of like the knee anti-tank guns. But let's look a little bit at the map for a second. So Pointe du Hoc, obviously we have this beautiful bluff on the outside, which is going to be accessible by nobody. It's just dead space over here the entire way through. And we have a couple of main arterials. Along the northern side of the map right now, we just see a couple of Vog with some recon. And the middle part of this map, it's just this beautiful shot that's going to go right back at each other. So for the Poles, we see a very aggressive opening right down that center line, with a couple of stewards, a couple of infantry squads in that staghound, with a little bit more minimalistic approach toward the northern side of things. There's a staghound command car. Is it a command car? I'm sorry, a Morris LRC. So not technically a command car, but it's just a yeah, it's basically a staghound, more or less. I mean, I might be 100% wrong on that one, but it more or less kind of acts like it. A couple infantry and some machine gun fire. Now, the Fallschirm, of course, are going to have a lot more infantry early on. You could tell just a number of reconnaissance squads, a number of infantry, some leaders in there. We have a couple of anti-tank guns as well. So what I'm interested to see is, first of all the anti-tank personnel seem to be pretty much in this middle position. Of course, we have one a little bit towards the southern side of this wing. And it doesn't seem like either player is really going to be too concerned about moving along this northern flank here. Actually going to see early on, Poles taking a very aggressive posture. What is going that far out? Who is going that far? Okay, so Bedford trucks. We're trying to see a lorry pass off a infantry squad or two over here to the southern side. In Germans, what kind of aggression are we going to see here? A little bit conservative. Enzo seems to have a much more aggressive position early on, and I kind of understand that. I can see the third Fallschirm being a little more nervous about what he could be running into. He knows there's going to be stewards. He knows there's going to be armored vehicles. And very early on, it could go either direction pretty quickly. I mean, either good or either bad. Now, guys, I do want to list on out there is another tournament coming on up this coming week, and I cannot for the life of me remember the site. You can find some more information about it, but it's another 1v1 open tournament. Expect to find some more videos with Rangru and myself. And I can't tell you guys how excited I am. Actually, they wanted to bring me on in to do some casting for that. Like I anticipated early on, so here's that Gerlich coming on out. Again, this thing looks like it's tiny, but I imagine it's got to be a heck of a lot bigger. 42mm cannon is looking to go on this right on this forest, like there's a tree line right here. Maybe a good line going down the road. Now, up in the northern side, though, we did see already that... Ooh, chance coming out as well. That a Kupelwagen did buy it, so I think one of the infantry squads to the northern side has already been just completely wiped out. And all this conspires just to show that the Poles really have an initial kind of advantage because of that heavier armor. Fallschirm are up here, of course, and these guys are quite good with their Fausts, but that is super close. Also going to see some more recon and some anti-tank posture kind of being taken here. By the way, that must have been the recon squad that got taken out, so that's a shame, but that's going to happen. 55 to 45 already, not seeing a lot of action immediately, although we will see Aufklärers kind of running right into the Streltsy. And the Streltsy, which names I'm probably butchering completely, are supremely good infantry squads, I would say. Sten guns, SMLEs, and Brens that are very good, even in standoff engagements, although they only have one of the Stens and one of the Brens, which kind of gives him a little bit of makes him a little bit of a liability in some kind of closer kind of firing CQB actions. Now, on the northern side, we have this Gerlich kind of coming up again. He's going to go through this forest and try to get a line of sight onto this command car of sorts. Again, I'm going to call it a command car. It looks like an M20 more or less to me, and I'm sure somebody out there is going to yell at me for doing that, but I'm sorry, this is how it's going to be. Down to the south, Strutzi are coming on in. We're going to see Fallschirm Furio is kind of shifting in as well. I'm looking to see some actual action going on here. Hasn't happened just yet. What I would like to also see is this MG34 perhaps taking a slightly more aggressive posture. The Poles are bringing on in recon in the south, a couple of squads of infantry, and now a Lloyd carrier with a 6-pounder, I believe, in the northern side. Action? Did I hear gunfire? Not quite yet. Okay, so the Gerlich is going to actually get some fire off. So 3, 2, 1, and engagement already. Breaking the tracks on that lorry up here. But he's not firing again. I don't know if he just said, bro, it's not important for you to fire, what the deal is. But no, he's just shifting position a little bit more to kind of get a better arc of fire. Hard to really fight him too much on that one. Down to the south, the Aufklärers are not doing a whole lot. Just a very, very static position on the southern side of this map. Enzo taking that early lead with that 5% territory control. Ooh, bouncing off that Staghound up here as well. So that Staghound's going to be a little bit more concerned. That M8 armor is not very good against the fact that this thing's got 8 piercing already. More infantry coming on in? Yes, but it's coming down to the southern side, looking to support the Aufklärers. We'll take a quick look over here, actually, at what Sagma sees. What does he see? He knows that there's some infantry out and about, but doesn't know really what's going on otherwise. He does see the tanks up in the north, and that's probably a very, very lucky thing for him. Now, Enzo sees practically nothing. And that's asking for trouble right there. So my guess is we'll probably see some engagements off that center line. We see that the Fallschirmjägers might be able to come under fire from the Streltsy. No, Streltsy don't see them any longer. And we're slowly seeing... It's such a weird engagement already. Okay, Kubel MG is going to be blown to pieces. This guy's not going to last very long. 7HE, 6HE. Vickers against the Kubel. The Kubel's out in the open. Yeah, it's not going to go well. But you know what? The important thing is that we actually have some death and destruction going on out. And Streltsy are trying to take out this particular forested area. Oh my gosh, the Stewarts are also... Ooh, Stewart and the Staghound blowing apart the attack by this Fallschirmjäger squad. Which makes you kind of wonder, are we going to see anti-tanks maybe kind of slide a little bit further forwards? This guy could probably sneak up a little bit. Maybe not easily, perhaps, but he could sneak up a little bit. And that's probably a very, very important opportunity here. Kubel does go down. And in the meantime, the Streltsy are going to kind of just start aggressing against these Aufklärers. MG trying to make sure they can kind of keep him at range. And that MG by itself might be able to push them back. It's not going to be simple, though. They might even actually buy it. I don't know. But the Streltsy taking some damage, so that's always kind of good from the German side of things. Overall, though, people are very, very cautious about this play coming through. And never mind, there goes the Kubel. To the south of this Fallschirmjäger, this MG34, first of all, beautiful, beautiful looking kind of gun. The tripod and everything. Takes out a Jeep on the opposing side of matters. I even see this 81mm stovepipe coming on out for the Germans, so he's going to throw rounds out at the infantry in the forest here and doing a really great job of pressuring them back. Now, it's not the most effective fire. I mean, of course, mortar fire is mortar fire. It's really just kind of there to kind of suppress infantry, more or less. But it could be a heck of a lot easier, I would say, for the Poles. One thing I'm a little bit disappointed to see is that Enzo's not being particularly aggressive. He's being very cagey against a division that, early on, while there definitely is anti-tank presence, and you can see that happening right now with the 41 against the Staghound, he wasn't concentrating any kind of legitimate armor force against any point of his opponent's line. He should be rupturing part of this super, super quickly. Frustratingly, though, perhaps, this Gerlich is just firing rounds like crazy against the Staghound and just keeps bouncing them consistently. What's he seeing now? He has the half-track in his sights. Not quite. Alright. In the meantime, no, so Fallschirmjägers finally start getting inside against these 6-pounders, against the Streltsy, against these Vickers. They have 2 guys pinned down already, and these are still kind of linchpins in the northern side of the Polish lines. If they go down, I can see a very, very negative thing happening out here for the immediate Polish presence. What's more, Aufklärers are actually getting into the fight. No, they're not. I kind of thought they were firing in two different directions. There goes the Vickers, and now the Jaegers are putting fire into another Scouts unit. They have the half-track going down the northern side, so we're going to see Sagma, I think, really be taking some of this territory. He was able to aggress onto these two here. Down to the south, though, he has sacrificed some of his force control, let's call it. And we said L6 Panzer coming on in. Again, this was based off an Italian model, and it dies stupidly quickly. It just has very, very minimal armor. But it could have been good as a flanking maneuver. Unfortunately, he was not given the opportunity to do so. But 2 minutes out from Phase B, it's going to be kind of not so much more of the same, and I'm actually kind of surprised to say that particular topic. What it's going to be, it looks like it's going to be a heck of a lot more, I want to say pro-Polish in terms of just raw territory transfer, but the Fallschirmjägers could reverse this at any point, really, by bringing on in some sexy, sexy air power. Sexton throwing on rounds from way downtown. Again, guys, he's got 2,400 meters range, so that's what, a mile and a half, about 2 miles there? Could not say for sure. About a mile and a half, I think. 1.6 kilometers, yeah. About that, about 2 miles. Anyway. Fallschirmjägers, in the meantime, a little bit of infantry kerfuffle between engagements. It's not that surprising. And frankly, the 6-pounder, if he can take out the 6-pounder, that's just as good for him. Aufklärer coming on over to really kind of support. We see some more Fallschirmjägers coming on in. And I don't think the Armada is not going to get a shot off either. It's going to start to ramp on up, but it's not going to get that shot. There we go. Fallschirmjägers are on out. And here we go. So the 129 comes on in and actually puts a couple of rounds into this Cromwell, which I honestly didn't even see come on in. We see Hurricanes coming out the other direction, so say goodbye to that. Henkel at 129 is not going to survive, and he buys it, which is a shame, because that guy could have been insanely good. But we'll never know now, will we? Regardless, now that Sexton can just kind of very, very easily, and rather blithely, bombard the bejesus out of the front lines. He has nothing really to worry about. While his allies they continue to hold this 55. There's no reason to aggress if you hold the territory, right? Coming off the eastern side of the map, a couple more squads of, not sure it's Fallschirmjägers per se. In fact, I think he might be running low on that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe not Fallschirmjägers. Maybe we get some more Führers coming on out. We'll see. While on the northern side, Kubel MG coming on in, and this Pupchin, I'm surprised, is not actually getting any kind of rounds off with this M8. But the Gurley certainly is, and this guy, he's been doing an incredible amount of firepower. He's just firing shots like crazy. Pinned down, oh, but he takes the stag out with his last round. And now with that Cromwell 5 coming on in, that could be rather interesting for the Germans to try to deal with. Sexton, 90 rounds of ammunition, and things will be firing for days. So Phase B has come on through, so 95 requisition points per for Sagma. Enzo's up to 115. So economy advantage still for the Poles, and of course with the Staghound there as well as the Cromwell, there's not that many trucks that are getting on through. So a Fallschirmjäger squad, I think, completely going down for free. While it looks like the Kubel MG is trying to get in and after these Dragoni, and I don't forgive me, the Dragoni, I don't know exactly what they bring on in for loadouts. So we'll check that in just a second if we get a moment. For some reason, I feel like he has a Piat in there, but I might be wrong. Kubel coming on through with a little bit of extra indirect firepower, so it's just, I think he dumps off a mortar, we'll see. Hurricanes coming on in, ground runs, trying to protect these Dragoni. Yep, Dragoni have a Bren, Piat, 6 of the Enfields, and a Sten. So very, very well-rounded, able to fight a lot of different opportunities. It doesn't mean it's going to be simple, though. In the meantime, we're back to 5149, and the Germans could be pressuring further, but it's kind of a rough sell with, now we have Cromwells coming on in. And even with this Cromwell right here with a broken track, this guy's got 13 HE, which is not going to be good. ME-109's being called on in to chase away the Hurricanes, that's probably a good call. Might be able to pressure this Cromwell down, maybe not. I'm not 100% sure how well that will go. Pupcha, in the meantime, he's just being super gutsy. Kind of hard to find fault with that, too. I mean, honestly, if that Cromwell comes in and doesn't see him, it's going to be beautiful. He's going for the tree line. Still can't see it, can't engage there. Alright. So 53-47, though, with the fallback of those Fallschirm Megas, it's going to be very difficult for the northern side to be completely held. Although let's call it the Polish left, the German right, is still more or less, I would say, in Wehrmacht hands. Kubel MG, going to put some rounds down at the Dragoni. And a Piat, honestly, could be more than enough to take him out, but I don't think he's going to waste a shot on that. Which would be kind of a shame, but at the same time, I mean, it's a Kubel. It's not going to do that much. Where's he going? Okay, he's just coming a little bit further up the road. Can he see this guy just yet? No, he can't. He's going to come way further down. That MG's got the fear of God in those, the Poles, excuse me, in the Fallschirm Megers right there. And, of course, there goes that Kubel MG. In the meantime, though, these Streltsy are not able to hold back against all of this nonsense. We got a couple of squads of Fallschirm Megers with Führer support here. One's already getting pinned on down. Ooh, no, these are the kind of weird, just like super, like anti-tank versions. Streltsau, honestly, I don't know Polish well enough, and frankly, I'd be kind of embarrassed if I butchered it too much. N109's coming on in, pinned down the Dragoni. Perfect timing. Honestly, he's got to get those guys pushed back immediately. Otherwise, this Pupchin's going to go down. And that would be a shame. And the Hurricanes find them out already, and yeah, that Pupchin's going to be not long for this world. Though we do see the infantry go down against the Poles on that one. In the south, it continues to be kind of homeostatic. These guys not really considering too much of a move. Kind of understandable. Ooh, and one of the Hurricanes does go down, but they're taking some ground fire, both from these Shermans as well as his Bofors is self-propelled. Gotta get out with that dude pretty quickly. But more or less, it's kind of hard to be too upset with the German position. 53-47 is ideally, of course, not where you want to be. But out of 2,500 tickets, you still have plenty of time to come back into it if you really, really want to be aggressive. No. The Polish left seems to be sagging badly. Of course, bringing in the Sherman's going to do a lot to really kind of salve that ego. And you are not going... Oh, you are moving. Now, if you're a hunt move, it would be even better. I mean, that would be beautiful to be able to take out the Sherman as well as that Cromwell. And he is super close in the first place, too, so that is, like, practically heat ammo. 3, 2, 1, boom. And he's going to get that first shot off as well, I think. Weapon damaged. Beautiful. That's 1. That's 2. And now can he get that last shot off over here at the Sherman? Maybe not. He's going to get carved to pieces by the 50 cals on top? 30 cals. And 2 HP, so okay, 50 cal right there. Forcing him back rather swiftly. And we're seeing a bit of a chug coming on in, So we have another Cromwell, a couple of infantry squads, and some more recon. I'm a little surprised by how, not so much aggressive that posture is, but... Uh-oh. Goodbye, Pupchin. Yep, Pupchin has gone down. But maybe the Sherman's going to get gutsy, and we'll see this Fallschirmjäger take him on out. So yeah, he's actually going to get ready for that Faust. It's going to be beautiful if he can make it. Let's just zoom on in, because I want to see this happen. Switch this up, switch it up. Here we go. Ready. Steady. And folks, this is going to be a dead Sherman right here. He cannot get away from this too quickly. Aligning. 3, 2, 1, fire. Track's broken. Okay, well that was almost good enough, I suppose. Of course, now that the infantry squad is going to get completely roasted and toasted, but he might actually get that last one off. No, never mind. He went to one side. He did not actually get off that round. He's got to fall back right now. He's going to get away, but that Sherman is still up and it's still dangerous, which means that these 2 trucks are not going to want to go anywhere close to that area. In the meantime, so Hurricane's coming on in, trying to force a surrender somehow, but it's not going to be too easy with just a tank. And indeed, good lord, ME-109's coming on in, rockets away, going after that guy. He's going to fall back, but he can't fall back. It's impossible. But we are going to see probably this Hurricane by it. So ME-109's coming through, making gun runs after him as he retreats. And there he goes. So another Hurricane goes down, bites the dust. Opal Blitz being popped on out. 3, 2, 1. Gotta get out now, big guy. And there goes, that's one squad of infantry right there. The other one's got to get out now. Yep, Fallschirmjägers are in the area. He's got to get that shot off, and I don't know, will the Faust get off in time? No. No, so despite the fact that he sent 3 squads of infantry basically to the area, he did not use them effectively, and Sagma just continues to get kind of calmly pushed back by Enzo's forces. Might have been more important and better idea to start concentrating in this area here. We definitely see a concentration of infantry just waiting for the word go. And more rockets going on out, but just tracks are broken again. Big deal. In the south, Germans make a couple of tentative pushes, but it's not going to go with really anything. Mortar is still plenty of ammo, but yeah, these guys aren't going anywhere fast. We're coming up on Phase B in the next couple of minutes here, but at the same time basically means that the 3rd Fallschirmjägers are going to get completely and totally walloped, I feel like. They will get some more tank presence, but on a deck that's far more infantry than motorized, and for good reason, of course. It's not going to go well. These Fallschirmjägers can't get any sort of firepower being levied out at these infantry at these vehicles as they charge. And these half-tracks just drop their guys and bolt. It makes perfect sense. I mean, they'll take a couple of squads, get hit here and there. But these half-tracks don't have to worry about a whole lot. Now about you. Can you see down the road? You can see, sort of. But you can't quite see that Sherman. It's like 2 steps off to one side. 90 seconds to go. Cromwell coming in as well as basically an M3. It's an off-map call-in. And now here's where the German center just blows apart. Fuel explosion. Never mind. Fallschirmjägers get a beautiful Faust off, or was it the other Fallschirmjägers? Either way, so that Cromwell did die, and that was going to be... That's an excellent opportunity for things to turn around. Not easily, mind you, because the Germans don't have much in the way of infantry in the center part of this field at the moment. But still worth noting as a small victory. But the fight is being won or lost in the north here, and what's coming in for the Germans? Well, rockets away, and thank you, going after the correct material now. That's a chance of even taking it out, that's the thing. At least he's forcing back 4 different things by himself, so stressing out all of that at the same time, pretty darn decent. Would be kind of nice too to see, honestly, the Gerlich coming to the other side of this forest. He knows there's all these vehicles in here. He needs to be positioning himself much more properly. But I have to say, up here in the north, it looks kind of dire. He's lost his first tree line on his side of the map, and there's just a wave of Poles coming on through. And, jeez, Crusader tanks, these guys are insane. What is it, 20 mils? 20 mils, yeah. So, dual 20 mil cannons. They just carve things to pieces. It's incredible. I feel like this mortar's probably going to get stressed out pretty darn quickly, unless these Fallschirmjägers give their lives to push back the Poles. And indeed, there goes one squad giving its life already, and there's also other material coming on out. The Dragoni putting fire out. Brennan guns doing work, and not Strozzi at all, just all Draconi. Interesting. Of course, you're able to know that because the heat ammo indicator right there. Cromwell, in the meantime, is he going to get that first shot off? No, he doesn't get the first shot off, but he gets the last word. And there goes the L41. So I don't know if Sagma can really come back from this one. He is getting completely laid out here. His mortars are completely pinned down. He's not no infantry. He's got some aircraft coming on in again and again. But he doesn't seem to be trading any kind of effective material. Pin Dragoni, big deal. He's lost his Fuhrer now to the north. He's got another squad that's completely cut off. And just kind of hiding on out, desperately waiting to take a couple of vehicles here and there. And I don't think it's going to happen now either. Staghound, where's he going to be shooting? Oh, he's going after the stroke. Okay. So now into Phase C, which means we're going to get a couple of strokes here and there. Problem with that is that the stroke is not going to be able to easily reverse. And like that, the Cromwell is just too heavily armed to be taken out easily, and too heavily armored, more or less. So Phase C, we do see some strokes coming on out for the 3rd Fallschirmjäger, but at the same time, these guys are kind of outgunned from the word go, and I kind of wonder if Sagma wasn't just kind of lost before it's even really started. It did help somewhat that we see things like this Sexton, who has had no pressure whatsoever, just firing rounds from range. Great amounts of indirect fire support. Another squad does go down a command car right there, but nothing too really much to write home about. A couple of squads go down here and there, and this Gerlich is now trying to take out these attacking half-tracks. Transmission damage, that's decent. I think we'll watch down here just a couple of seconds because I don't want to be too depressed about how poorly it's going for the 3rd Fallschirmjägers. I always say a contrail when he fires, doesn't, do I? Nope, crew killed. There we go. So, He's got 4 or 5 kills to his name. Unfortunately, he's like the only guy in the entire German army who's doing well, who's trading effectively, honestly. And this Crusader gets off the last couple of bursts anyway, so he fires off about 70 rounds and takes out that last anti-tank position. Calling in now this other Crusader, Mark II. What's the kind of range these guys have? 800 millimeters. Meters, excuse me. And the Beaufort's up here in the north. This guy's got 1,000, so it's a very good bit of air cover for his units. Now, that ME-109 can still come in for ground runs, but every single time he does it, he's going to want to cry and run for home, because he's not going to be able to really get out alive. Oh, not for sure. And Sagma, I feel like, is just completely at a loss of what to do. These AA tanks firing the 20 mil cannons are just doing work. So, he got a couple more other meters to fire off? No, he's just reloading real quick. Very, very quick. But at the same time, like I said, ooh, a Pac 40. A lively position. Now, if he can move a couple meters more, he might be able to control that roadway. But I don't really see him moving very much. In fact, I don't really see Sagma doing too much of a further push. And Enzo just kind of calmly says, okay, bro, you want me to give me this? I'll take this. And frankly, if he did 1% more, he would get that +2, and we could all go home a lot quicker. But he doesn't seem too concerned about that. Instead, he's just amassing his troops because he can. Greyhound coming up here to the northern side, Staghound. And these Fallschirm are going to take him out, but, you know, dent the brakes. Focke-Wulf coming on in, medium bomber dropping on down. Not going to do as much damage as you might think, though. He forces back the Staghound as well as this Stuart. But who cares, man? I mean, those guys have been there since literally the beginning of this fight. And it's not them that's holding up the German advance. It's these Streltsy in the forest, and they keep coming forward to blow apart anything that comes on out. So the Aufklärer are going to come on in, they're going to get blown to pieces. That's not going to go well. This Bedford, in the meantime, is going to get these guys back up and running, and this Hurricane is coming in like a wrecking ball, and he's going to drop bombs on top of this infantry attack, and it's going to get blown to shreds. Yep! There it goes. So, very little in the way of any kind of air power left. Focke-Wulf has come up to the north. Hurricane does go down, but 3 Messerschmitts doing some work. Did he even get that bomb off? No, he didn't. He didn't even get the bomb off. There's an ME-109's done so much work for him. Where's he coming in again? He's going after this forest. And he pins him down, but again, his own troops are already pinned down, and there's no infantry to follow this up. ME-109s are desperately trying to carve up the front lines as much as possible. But here comes the AA now, so the AA is going to start to really stress these dudes out as well. They're all going to head for home. Again, a little pocket back here. It's actually kind of funny to look at. But I get the feeling, yep, we're starting to see engagements happening. Scout car coming on in, and I'm almost surprised we're not going to see a call-in just in this one spot right there. I don't know why the hell not. ME-109 yet again, so we're starting to see legitimate usage of air power here, but it's too slow, and it's been waiting too long. Transmission damage, he's still not going to go down, is he? Wow, that was a shock. Stuart does go down, but again, it's way out in the open. The Sexton just took out the lovely, lovely position that 41 had over here in this tree line. And the Germans have nothing, man. There's nothing left that they can do. There's too much armor up here in the north. Fallschirm trying to get out. Going to get one more shot off, but it's not going to happen. Shockingly enough, this scout car with an M2HB will take out the last 4 units. It's a little bit upsetting. The SPWAB. Okay, the SPWABs. These things are kind of like the 221s, the 222s that you might see from, how do you call it? Really every other scout faction that you might see. They do have this lovely little kind of rapid-fire cannon, but 5 armor pen and 3 armor means that he's going to come up to the front line, he's going to take 2 shots, and he's going to get blown to shreds. Another Beaufort's coming out here to the south to really create this incredible flak blanket. As AA Crusader's been pulled out of position, I kind of want to see him come down to this area here, for no other reason to keep the Germans honest in this forest, as well as being able to control, as I said about right here, to control all of these avenues as well as this forest. Oh, excuse me, well, this road coming on down. More infantry being called on in, another push being made, maybe to kind of take this forest yet again. But who cares, man? 56-44, and your opponent's not been able to successfully push against you for, I don't know how long. Fallschirm Pioneers interesting call. So we have flamers here, and that might have been better about 15 minutes ago when you had the Streltsy over here in the forest. But again, what now can you do? He's going to come up close enough to be seen to really put fire out on somebody. There's going to be so much extra nonsense. This Bofors, I'm pretty sure this Bofors can hit. Yep, he can hit that forest pretty darn easily. So the second those Shrimp Pioneers come on out, he's going to get completely shredded. The SPW, in the meantime, he's going to start trying to pick on... I don't even know what to call that. He's going to try to pick on those bad boys. On the Focke-Wulf, so just tons and tons of bombs and AA kind of material. It's the biggest airstrike you might figure to see. And even then, that Junker 88 is not doing a whole lot to push back that Polish position. I kind of wonder, he's got to know that there's all this material here, and yes, he does. So I'm kind of wondering why... I was looking at the correct one. Why he's not trying to be more aggressive against that. Like Sagma. Yeah, so he sees all of it. But alright. Fallschirmjäger's under attack. Again, just more of the same here. 56 to 44, 1645, and this just continues the kind of whitewash that's going on. Hurricane, where's he going for? Okay, so he's going to try to take out this last position, maybe get that last couple of percentile. ME-109 has the same thought, though. He's going after that Crusader tank, and this guy doesn't have much in the way of armor, so if he can get those rockets off, falling back, so he just barely misses. And the Fallschirmjäger is just not going to survive too easily. ME-109 is trying to get their pound of flesh before they get chased away. Might be able to do so. Take him out. Yep, there goes the Hurricane. Unfortunately, this battle is not won or lost in the air. It is won and lost on the ground. Scout car throwing up this curtain of flak, and there's so much just garbage being thrown up in the air. It's impossible to think how these fighter pilots are even coping with all of the stress. So I'm trying to think about what really went wrong for the Axis here, because Lord knows it's not going to be an Axis victory at this point. Sturm Pioneer trying to go stress out of as many people as he can. Saperzi being called in for the Poles, and while everyone gets pinned down from the Polish side of things, the Sturm Pioneers are going to get torn to pieces, and they do. Half tracks as well as courtesy of the Sherman V, right here, the Sherman 5. Fiora coming on in, maybe trying to pick up that Saperzi, but no. Stug in the meantime coming out, trying to put a couple of rounds down range, but who cares, man? He's completely outgunned. And there it goes. Sherman tank blows him apart in another round. So what really went wrong for Sagma here? Because Enzo really kind of didn't have to push too hard. He took the initial positions and then did not break out at all. Frankly, if I were Sagma in this case, I probably would have gone for a much more aggressive posture. Maybe even tried to work this road over here. At the absolute minimum, use this area as a base of operations, start to push through, using the orchard, trying to get behind. Continue to use all these boxes here, as opposed to really just kind of sitting back and hanging around. And that's going to be it. So Sagma's going to go down as complete whitewash. In 30 minutes and 12 seconds, we're going to see a 1762 to 0. And surprisingly enough, Enzo actually lost more than his opponent, and yet still won the game. So don't know how he did that, but major victory and a total defeat over here for Sagma. Kill-wise, Sexton pulling his weight did a really good job early on. And other than that, not really a whole lot being done, losses-wise. Now, the Gerlich, the Pack 41s, did a decent job early on. Fallschirmjäger's doing a little bit of work. Those guys that have penetrated at one point. And here's that 41 that was holding the south-central side of the German position for about 30 or 40 seconds until it got bombed out of existence. In any case, well played to Enzo. I don't often see the Poles, so it's kind of fun to see them get utilized here. And unfortunately, Sagma, I kind of would have liked to see a little more aggression out of you. Bad luck there, but maybe better luck next time. Folks, that'll be doing it for me today. If you have a game you want me to check out, please email me at conhourgaming@gmail.com. I check on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so if I see your game on either one of those days, I will push to get it recorded as quickly as possible and to feature you for Subscriber Saturday. If you haven't yet subscribed, hit that button below, hit that like button, comment, tell me what you want to see, and I'll be happy to put it up for you. And be sure to check out a couple of the other playlists going on this map, on this channel. Sim Airport for one, and I think I'm also going to try playing a little bit of PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. But for right now, folks, that's going to do it for me today. This is Con Ulrich, and I'll see you guys all soon. Have a great day. Take it easy.